You're watching Arizona Real Estate Matters, the podcast. I am your host, Phil Putnam with Empire Title, and our guest today is Sean Heideman. He is the designated broker and owner of Position Realty. Hello, Sean.
Hi. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Welcome to the show. So tell us quickly about yourself. You've done a lot of stuff as an agent out there, and I want to talk about some of these things because definitely there's some uniqueness to what you've done. Example, real estate specialist in the, real estate specialist special commissioner with the Maricopa County Superior Courts. I've done some deals in my career with a couple agents like that, and that's a very unique area to go into. So just tell us how you got in the business and, expound a little bit on some of the things you've done.
To get into the business with the special commissioner?
No, just into the real estate industry.
Oh, just in the real estate industry. Okay. Well, when I got started, I graduated from college and I didn't know which area I wanted to go into. And at the time, the real estate was kind of a popular thing. This was back in 2003. And so I worked for a few different companies, worked for Countrywide, and then I also worked for, my buddy worked for a commercial appraiser. So I did some commercial appraising, and I also had gotten my real estate license at that time. And so I did, Fishman Wakefield is a large company, and I worked on appraisals for large apartment buildings, shopping centers, large tracts of land. So I did that for about a year, and then I was laid off, and then I worked for a couple small companies for a couple years, and I just didn't like it. So I already had my real estate license. So then I transitioned into selling real estate. And so I did that for about 6 or 7 years with Prudential. And so it was difficult. And then I decided to start my own brokerage company in 2012. And after that, I had gotten divorced. And my son was 3 and my daughter was on the way. And so she was about a year old at that time. And so I persisted through and I continued with the brokerage, but I kind of geared it down a little bit because I more concentrate on my kids. They were in Cub Scouts and different things. But yeah, I think everybody goes through life situations. But yeah, so I raised my kids. And then now that my son is getting older, I'm looking at recruiting more agents and helping more agents get into the business and learn how to do the different real estate things. And
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I always like to hear people's stories because, real estate is not something that you go to college, get a degree, and then go into that industry. Or, I'm not real sure, when you ask a little kid in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I really doubt that any of them say real estate agent.
Right.
They want to be, of course, a cop or fireman, a doctor or whatever. Exactly. And so, to see how somebody has gotten into the industry and what's led them here is always interesting to see. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is the real estate special commissioner with the Maricopa County Superior Courts.
Okay.
I've dealt with some agents in the past that have had this designation. And explain to our listeners, what is it that you would do in that capacity?
So actually how I got into that was I was going through the divorce, and I pretty much kind of represented myself in the case most of the time. And then I just had my attorney appear in court and that sort of stuff. So I learned a lot of the legal, how to do this, how to do that. I had a friend that was an attorney that kind of advised me on what to do. And she was like, well, hey, you should get into being a special commissioner. You got 5 years of experience, which is a requirement with the courts. And so I signed up for it. And so the attorney that I worked with, he gave me a few clients at first. And it's a different thing to do. Definitely because the couples may be in disagreement. They may be fighting. But mainly your main goal is to help the couples focus on the common goal, which is selling the house, getting the money. They've been stressed. They, want to be away from each other. And that's usually the last piece or last component that the court leaves is to sell the property. And so, I try to help them um, reduce the conflict and just focus on the main goal of selling the house and, moving on and getting their halves of the money. And so that's basically how I got into it. But yeah, it's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah,
There's a
no.
lot of conflict and um,
Well, it's a specialty that I think is needed, and the reason I wanted to bring it up in the first place because you mentioned that it's a lot of navigating divorce, probate proceedings, that kind of thing, and that's a lot of people have a misconception as far as that's concerned, as well, especially the probate side, but on the divorce side, yeah, it's really difficult. You've got two people, a marriage splitting is not usually always a happy thing at all.
exactly.
And so a lot of times, it's they're bickering, or they can't decide on something and they don't want to be in the same room at the same time. And
Exactly.
I've done tons of transactions in my career where it's a divorce situation where the husband and wife they just flat out won't be in the same room. And I've even been asked a couple times, don't say anything to the other spouse about anything if you don't mind. And we're like, well, we won't do that because it's just not our place. But
Right.
it's very difficult. So for somebody to get in the middle of that, it takes definitely a special person, but it's so needed. And, because unfortunately divorce is such a big thing in, our society, but the probate thing as well, because a lot of people don't realize that, probate has there's a stigma behind it. And that is, once people think that a probate has to be done on a piece of property, oh my God, it's going to take years. It's going to be super expensive. And yes, those things can definitely happen. But in some cases, it can be fairly quick. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. Usually, and I've had this conversation a lot with people, and especially lately for whatever reason, and where I work out in Surprise, the probate thing comes up quite a bit because we're dealing with so many
Sun
adults.
City.
Yeah, the Sun Cities and all that good stuff. But what I tell people is, look, probate actually can be, you can open a probate and within roughly a month and a half, maybe sooner, you can have somebody assigned as a personal representative and you're on your way.
Right.
The thing that makes probate hard is greed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it the hard thing, is because you've got people in the family,
different errors, and they're fighting over who gets what.
Yep.
Or the will says this and they don't like it, and so then they get an attorney.
And so you, as working for the courts, you kind of got to get in the middle of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not got to be fun.
No, it's a difficult situation. I mean, it's a sad situation to be going into the situation, or meeting people that are lost somebody. But then it even hurts even more to see, them fighting over, who gets what or whatnot. But, it's really up to the attorneys to really sort that out.
Yeah.
But mainly our jobs as a realtor is to just kind of help them through the process of grieving and
Navigating
sell the property as quickly as possible and advise them on a correct price. And my appraisal experience also comes into effect and when I do listings. So I really do a lot of research. I spend probably about an hour just researching comps. I make sure that the value is right. And especially with the probate stuff, I really want to get it right because I don't want to drag it on as much as possible.
Well, and getting the price right is important because you have some of these companies out there that are, sell it to us, no repairs, no nothing. You can stay in the house. We've heard it before so many times on TV and everything else. And,
right.
I know of numerous situations where the seller was going to do something of that nature and they decided not to, and hired an agent such as yourself. And, they sold the property and ended up making a lot more money. The average amount of money you make more on a transaction is like 30% when you hire an agent, as opposed to, some of these e-buyers or trying to sell it on your own. And when you're dealing with a probate situation like this, sometimes you have individuals that will, they'll do the same thing because the parents lived here, they've passed away. The son, daughter, whoever is in another state, they don't want to mess with anything.
Right.
Let's just do a quick sale and call one of these companies.
Right. Mm-hmm.
where you're going to step in and say, I can get you way more money for this.
Way more money, price it right. Get us a decent amount of people coming to look at it at a price. And a lot of those iBuyers or Open Door and OfferPad, and what consumers don't really understand is that they're in it to make money.
Mhm.
So they want to buy it at a lower price, and so you're kind of leaving equity on the table, even if the house is livable condition and it's decent. Um, uh,
Well, one of the things that I've seen is that with some of those e-buyers is the price that they're going to offer along with other fees.
Right. They always tack on more fees, which people don't realize.
Yeah. The thing is that you could hire an agent like yourself, list it at what it's really worth.
Mm-hmm.
And even if there needs to be quite a bit of repairs, sometimes that discount for the repairs isn't as nearly high as the discount that you're being offered by some of these e-buyers.
Right, exactly. And then we work with a company that can go in there and do some renovation work, update it a little bit, just like what these iBuyers would do. And they'll wait to be paid at the end, at closing. So basically, they just send the invoice to a person like you for the title. And once it closes, then you just write them a check, and they'll wait. There's no interest. There's no hidden fees. There's no nothing. They'll come in and they'll renovate it for them, increase the value a little bit. I mean, mainly people are looking for kitchens and bathrooms and flooring.
Yeah, number one.
Those are main things. And maybe paint, a fresh paint job goes a long way.
Oh, absolutely.
New carpet. And things like that are just small, but this company will wait to be paid, which is a huge advantage.
That is huge
for people.
Because one of them, a lot of them want it up front after the work's done, but where the money's coming from is from the sale of the home.
Sell the home. Right?
Yeah. So it's very important. So to know those things and know going in and being able to help somebody and hold their hand and navigate them through this is important, especially if they're, individual that happens to be out of state. I've had numerous people in my career, when we run into a situation like that, they're like, well, when do I need to fly in for the closing? And I'm like, you don't need to go anywhere.
Right?
You don't have to do any of that.
Right.
It's nice. So in order, it gives them peace of mind. So,
exactly.
Having that position to deal with divorce and probates and stuff, you're helping them have peace of mind that everything's going to be taken care of. And they're going to put probably more money in their pocket than if they would have went a different route.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about Position Realty. The name, Position Realty. Why'd you choose that?
Position Realty is basically positioning. I have a college degree, a business degree, and in my marketing classes, I learned about different marketing terms, and one of them is positioning. There's different variations of it, but mainly for the company, it's positioning the services with different niches. So when I hire on a new agent, I always encourage them to pick a niche, as if you're just buying leads from Zillow and just competing against everybody else. It's just like, well, I have a license, pick me, I'm better. But if you have a niche, like what we were just talking about, the divorce specialist and the probate, you're kind of like the go-to person. So I've kind of geared the company around different niches, and all the agents that I hire on, I always encourage them to have their own niche, or they can, adapt, and I can train them on the niches that I'm already doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what the company Position Realty, it's based off of a marketing term.
So I like it because, real estate agents, if you notice, I didn't say salespeople. Real estate agents don't sell real estate. People think they do.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you have to sell something to somebody, you're in the wrong business.
Right.
You can go work at a store or something else that deals with sales.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate agents are, they're psychologists, they're mentors, they're experts in their field. And it's all those things and sharing that information with people and helping them navigate their way through real estate really is what their job is.
Exactly.
And then when it comes time to sell or buy and actually deal with the contract, then they become their representative in a contractual situation. But you're not selling anything. So to position yourself for success in a certain niche, is excellent in my opinion, because now, you may not always want to do your niche because everything is cyclical. So that niche may be a little bit, as far as volume is concerned, may not be very high, but then, 6 months later or a year later, it's very high and then it drops back down. So you want to kind of broaden your horizons when it comes to knowing about the industry. But to have that expertise or position yourself in a certain area can be very lucrative for a lot of agents. And to have somebody like yourself who's done, the special commissioner stuff, you've done REO stuff, those are all things that, again, just like the regular real estate market, it is very cyclical.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you have that expertise, when the market kind of moves that way, you can seize the opportunity.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I work with investors, and I'm getting a lot more calls from investors. They just call me out of the blue. But like a year or so ago, no, didn't get a whole lot. It was like crickets. But now, like every week, I probably get like 5 or 6 new investors calling me. Oh, hey, so and so said that you have some properties, and or REO properties, or you have any deals for me? I'm looking for a next flip. And but yeah, right now it was down and now it's up. So
have you ever pulled into a convenience store, Circle K, whatever, and there's no cars in the parking lot, and then you pull in, next thing you know, 5 or 6 people come in behind you, and then you guys, everybody does their thing, and then they all leave and there's no more cars. That's how the real estate industry is. It's crazy how there's no true consistency of X amount of deals per month or whatever. You can have a great month and you're looking around as an agent or even as an escrow officer and go, why is this, right now things are up. Well, a lot of people have their theories, but I can tell you that, the inventory's up. Okay. So that leads to some more buyers having opportunities.
Right.
But values are not going down.
No.
So property values are not going down. So it's not like you can get a great deal out there.
No.
Interest rates are up.
Yeah. They've, up and down for the last 2 years.
Yeah. But, right now they're in the 6s, kind of fluctuating in that. So that's not that great rate everybody was, wanting, which will never come back again anyways. But we're not seeing, a tremendous, drop in interest rates to spur some activity. So it's like you look around, and if you understand the business, you're like, you almost have to wonder, why is it so busy right now? Some people might say it's because, it's spring and everybody buys during the spring. Well, Arizona, it's always spring. It's like, we don't have inclement weather to stop people from buying.
Yeah, we have more golf courses than any other state here.
Exactly. So it's just when we say cyclical, people think years, but in our industry, it can go month to month.
Yeah, and it just depends on what niche too, also, that you're concentrating in, and it's the market is up and down, and for the last 2 years, all agents and buyers have been waiting for interest rates to go down, and the biggest thing of affordability is interest rates, not price. Everyone's like waiting on price drop, but what caused the drop in 2008 was oversupply
of distressed properties.
And we don't have a lot of distressed properties. There's some inventory going up, but it's not the levels that we saw in 2008.
Well, no, and it's, in matter of fact, that distressed property levels aren't even to the average.
Right.
It's below the average right
below
now.
The average of what was it, like 2017 or 19 or something like that. It was much higher than it is now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And those are the little things that people don't understand. They only hear certain things through the media, on TV, whatever the case is, and sometimes that information is
not accurate.
It's not accurate. It's old. They only give you snippets.
A lot of the YouTubers too, they want to get views, so they're going to say, "Oh yeah, Phoenix market's crashing," or the Dallas market is crashing. So they want to get as many views as possible on their videos so that they obviously make money from advertising.
I saw something recently, not recently, but a while ago, and I don't know if it was on TikTok or whatever, but it was a guy that was, again, just wanting people to look, and it was the 5 real estate markets, and this was about a year or so ago, so it's been a while, but the 5 real estate markets that are going to crash, and Phoenix was one of them. The Phoenix market was one of them, and here we are.
Phoenix has always been the target of talks. Phoenix. Yeah.
It's like
Phoenix is going to crash.
yeah, no, don't think so. What I like to tell people, if you really want to know what's happening, as far as the health of the real estate industry is concerned, just look around to see how much commercial dirt is being moved.
Oh yeah.
So when you
That's
see a lot of commercial dirt being moved, they're building new buildings, or they're doing, that tells you that jobs are coming. That tells you that that things are somewhat healthy. The big corporations that build these commercial buildings and all this other stuff, when they're not moving dirt, there's something on the horizon. But all you got to do is drive around Phoenix, and it seems like we're always, with the exception of a few periods, we're always moving dirt.
Right. We have a lot of new employment coming to Phoenix. And I mean, one of everybody knows about the Taiwan semiconductor plant. I mean, that's huge.
Thousands of jobs out there.
Yeah. Out by the 303, there's a ton of employment going out there. And we've got Amazon here. We've got, I don't know.
And it's not slowing down.
It's not slowing down at all.
No, it's not. So let's talk about your brokerage. Small brokerage. We call it a boutique brokerage is what we consider a small brokerage. Give us the differences between the two types of brokerages. You have the boutique brokerages, which is a small brokerage, limited number of agents, a broker like yourself, probably work out of your home. And then you have the big national brokerages.
Right. Yeah. So the big national brokerages, I call them more of like transactional based. So a lot of them, their business model is centered around hiring as many agents as possible. They don't have a commission split per se. If you're in the real estate industry, you understand what commission split is. So with the big brokerages, they just charge like a transaction fee, maybe a monthly fee, maybe an E&O fee on top of that. So their goal is to hire as many agents, and they don't really care if you sell or not. So the more transactions they have, the more money that they make. So they do some training and stuff like that, but it's not really an intimate kind of environment. It's more very competitive. There's some training classes, but their training is just really basic, just stuff that everybody else is doing.
Some of them have 4 or 5 brokers that,
4 or 5 brokerage offices or whatnot. But with the smaller boutique companies, it's more of like a collaborative team environment. We all kind of work together. We're competitive with everybody else out in the market, but within our office, we're not really competitive. We want to help each other and mentor each other. And then I also do a lot of training. So over the years, I've learned different advanced marketing techniques. And so I've pre-recorded myself on these training videos, and then my agents can go and watch them. And then after they watch them, they take some notes, and then they can meet with me one-on-one. And I'll kind of go over some of the questions that they have or help them set up different things. So for example, some of the videos that I have is like advanced Google ads. And I've come up with a way to, a lot of agents, they get started in the industry. They don't have a huge budget. So everybody says, oh, Google ads is expensive, but it's not really. So you can set your budget on there. And so I teach them how to do that, how to set it up right, how to go in there and also do some text marketing and the CRMs with the email marketing. I can teach them how to do A/B splits, kind of test different marketing. One email says one thing and another one says another, and then do that for a month or so, and then check how many clicks you got on this one and how many clicks on that one. So then which one has more views or which one's performing better, then that's the one that they're going to want to concentrate on and send out more often. So that's just some examples of some of the videos that I do. But
well, and that's very advantageous, because there are some agents out there that, they've been doing this 30 years, whatever the case is. They've built their own business. They have a ton of referrals. They're the trainers themselves, that kind of thing. Yeah. And working for a big name, it adds a little bit more to their, repertoire. It's like I'm with one of the national brokerages, and sometimes people just gravitate to that. I mean, whether the agent knows what they're doing or not, sometimes they gravitate to that kind of stuff.
Right, the consumers.
But the boutique brokerages, I know a lot of agents that have gone out and got their broker's license, and then they're just their own agent, because you don't have to hang your license with one of the big brokerages or even one of yours, and they do very, very well, But then you also have a lot of people that want to get into the industry. And some of them say, well, if I hang my license with one of the big national brokerages, that's going to help, maybe my credibility or, exposure or whatever the case is, when in fact, it doesn't have the advantage that people think.
Right.
And, shortly thereafter, they haven't sold anything. And they're like, well, how do I make a living in this business? So a company like Position Realty, a boutique brokerage, is a great starting point for agents.
Yeah. And you just mentioned there, the brand name may help, like Remax. Everybody knows Remax. But what, like you've mentioned before, it's when you're a real estate agent, just because you work for Remax doesn't mean somebody's going to automatically sign up for you.
Mm-hmm.
People only work with people that they know, like, and trust. And if you're a personal person, you're driven, you're competitive, and you can build a relationship with the customer, it doesn't matter what company you work for. It's more so of your personality, your own brand, of how you relate with your customer, and can you get them to know, like, and trust you. And it doesn't matter what brand you work with.
Yeah, no, it doesn't, because if Sean Heideman or any of his agents show up at a listing, and they're successfully get the listing and they sell the property and they get full value, and the individuals put X amount of dollars in their pocket and they're happy, who cares what company name is on that sign, really?
They don't care.
Just
people, when they sell their house, they want it sold as quickly as possible and for top dollar.
Sure.
And that's what my marketing, as far as listings go, that's what I tell everybody. I'm used to be an appraiser. I can get you top dollar. I can sell it as quickly as possible because we price it, right.
One of the things that I've in dealing with real estate agents my whole career is that I've had some agents go, well, I've had my license for 20 some odd years, and in my mind, I don't tell them this, but in my mind, I'm thinking, well, how many homes have you sold?
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Right.
You can have a real estate license for 20 years, and you can work
part-time
as an and part-time or even full-time. But if you're not having any success as far as, how many homes you've, listed and sold or represented in buyers, that's where the experience comes in. So whether you work for one of the big brokerages or a boutique brokerage like Position Realty, it doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't. Like I said, it's more relational with the customer.
Mm-hmm.
And it might help you a little bit, but if you explain to the customer, and like the name, like I just explained to you, an agent signs on, I tell them why I named it that. So I encourage all the agents to tell all their customers, like, well, this is what Position Realty means. It's positioning, and we're going to position your property. We're going to highlight your lifestyle benefits of that property, and also the weaknesses. We're going to try to overcome those. Like if there's a power line, we're going to try to overcome that by some of the wording or verbiage in our marketing. But definitely we want to highlight the lifestyle benefits. Why did you buy the house yourself? Oh, I bought it because it was near the golf course, and I bought it because it had a 3-car garage. I could park my golf cart in the 3-car garage, and then I put this, and then also it had the view of the mountain. I like the mountains. So it's like you want to ask your customer or the seller those questions, and you want to position that property to be more competitive with all the other listings. You don't want to put in your marketing description 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 1,300 square feet, because that's what all agents do.
Sure.
You want to highlight the lifestyle benefits of the house.
When you look at a MLS plano and you see the 3 bedroom, 2 bath, big yard, price to sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what? Why?
To me, every home should have, the amount of bedrooms, bathrooms, price to sell. Sure, everything's priced to sell.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for something that sets it aside, set it aside. What makes it unique? What can draw people in?
Mm-hmm.
those kind of things. And that's one of, it's those kind of things that you offer, the agent training that you mentioned, the YouTube videos, the Google AdWords, the text marketing, the email marketing with A and B split testing and dynamic emails, all this stuff that you offer is what, a new agent, those are the things that the new agents, or even maybe agents that have had their license for a while that just haven't had success.
It's all about setting up your systems and processes.
Yeah.
And you want to set up your sales funnel, which is mainly the text marketing and your email CRM. So you meet somebody or somebody calls you, they give you your information, you put it in your CRM, and then you want to put together some campaigns to keep in contact with that person. If you don't have that, just that conversation, they may never call you again. And also, if you keep calling them, they're not going to remember who you are.
Well, that's a form of advertising.
That's a form of advertising. Yes.
And we all know, we may not like to watch it because a lot of times people, they tape shows, so they want to go through the commercials real quick when they're watching TV. But there's so many commercials on TV, and there's so many
noise.
Yeah, but it's because it works. Some people say, well, I don't want to do that stuff. I don't want to get my face out there. I don't want to be, constantly hounding people but you need to do those things. I mean, when I say you're not hounding people, but you're continually, your name or your, whatever the case may be is constantly out there, in order to, somebody might not buy a home today, but in 6 months they might be in the business to do that, or a year, or whatever the case is. A lot of times, a lot of agents, in just all my conversations with agents, they'll say, yeah, I talked to this one couple and they said that they were interested in buying, but not today. We're thinking, maybe in the spring or fall or whatever the case is. And then 2 weeks later they call them and say, okay, we're ready to go.
That happens all the time.
Yeah. It's the same as when you show if you show 5 houses to people with all the criteria that they want, and then they get done looking at those 5 homes and go, you got anything else? And then they end up buying something that's totally off the radar for them.
I've done that many times. Yes.
And that's the thing that we're talking about here. And that's what you'll help, some of these new agents, or, some of the agents that are looking for a change and looking for some direction and mentorship. You offer all that stuff.
Yeah, and those big marketing companies, their goal is, someone might be watching TV and they don't have a need for a new roof right now, right? So they keep watching and watching, the same ad comes up, and then they have a roof problem. But there has to be some kind of motivation behind their action. They're like, oh, well, I've seen this ad like 12 different times, and this company seems like, a good company.
Okay,
so
I'll give them a call.
I'm going to give them a call.
Yeah.
And what agents don't realize, especially new agents that get into the business, is that if you're not in front of that customer, they may not have the motivation each time you call them. You may call them 10 different times and maybe talk to them like 3 or 4 times. They pick up, but maybe on that 15th call, they have the motivation. They're ready to move. They're ready to sell. They're ready to buy. And you're the agent that have been calling, and so they're going to obviously choose you.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, before we end the show today, as far as for any new agents, I mean, obviously buyers and sellers, I think, they'd be doing themselves a disservice if they don't call you, for representation. So we definitely want any buyers and sellers that are watching this to, possibly pick up the phone and contact Sean over at Position Realty. But as far as you bringing in maybe some new agents, if they had questions regarding, okay, well, how does the commission split work? Or, what else besides training, as far as what will benefit me as an agent joining Position Realty?
We offer some unique things in the market. One of them is if you want to get into investing, or if you, a lot of times my agents, they buy and sell their own houses, right? So we have commission splits. We're not a transactional based model. So if somebody, for example, wants to buy an investment property, we will waive their commission split. There's only a small transaction fee. We don't have any monthly fees whatsoever with our company. And so that's kind of unique. And then also, for more experienced agents, I say experience is 6 years or more, we have a loyalty cap. So if they produce $15,000 in net commission income to the company, then they go to 100%, and it's just a transaction fee. But then also, if they're with the company for multiple years, that 15,000 goes down another $1,000 every year.
Okay.
So it's a declining cap for the experienced agents. And so those are kind of some unique things with the company that I think a lot of other companies aren't offering.
I think also, even agents who have, a somewhat thriving business. What I mean by that is that they do have a referral base that keeps them fairly busy.
Sure.
But they're looking, and they've been doing this for a long time, but they're looking now from the outside in going, okay, I don't have a web presence. I don't have a social media presence and all that stuff. I think Position Realty is a good choice also to make a move that way too, because you'll help them build that up, because, things evolve and change, and, what used to be done even 5 years ago is different today.
Yeah, with AI, especially, Google has Gemini, we have ChatGPT. The search engines are all navigating towards that. And before the AI was around, there was SEO, and SEO, Google and Yahoo and all the search engines relied on us to put content out. But now they don't really need us.
Yeah.
So the way of the industry is going more towards the way it was old school, where you had to create your own kind of sphere of influence of customers that know, like, and trust you. Before, you could just keep putting blogs out and people will read that and see that, but that's all going to go away. And agents that are not adapting to the new way of marketing their own websites and having their own sphere, they're going to be left behind.
Yeah, no, it's true. And a good example of that is, where I work out in Surprise, we've got, south of Bell Road is the regular real estate, market, non-age restricted, but north of Bell Road is, Sun City West, Sun City Grand, Sun City Festival, Sun Village, all these other ones. And you have some of these agents that have worked for, 10, 15 years in that market. And some of them have even said to me, I haven't gotten into the web or email stuff or any of that kind of stuff because, my clients are older. They don't get into it. Well, yeah, that might have been 15 years ago, but now 15 years later, those people, they weren't old. I'm old. I can live in those communities, so I can say this. They weren't old then, but now they are. But they've adapted and they've embraced technology, because at one point when they were younger, they did. And now that they're older, they still are.
Right. I know.
So
exactly
the agents need to evolve as well regarding that.
Yeah. My parents are 78. Right. And so my mom, wasn't very technology savvy. So she just dived in and she got a computer, and now she does email. She searches the web. She's, looks for Google reviews, and she's like an expert at it.
Yeah.
But she's 78 years old.
I've working out there in Surprise. I've had some older people where they don't even have an email, and that's okay. That's old school. That's fine. Come on in and sign some of your opening paperwork, because we send our opening stuff out for DocuSign or whatever. But then I've had some that have just blown my mind as far as how tech savvy they are.
Right.
I mean, they're like, wow, okay, great. That's excellent. I mean, they're as good or better than some of the younger people I'm dealing with. So and that what we're going to start seeing more and more of that. So if you're an agent and you're not embracing it and you want to survive in this industry, you need to do that. And I think Sean over at Position Realty can give you that opportunity. Or if you're a new agent, want to get into business and you're looking for some mentorship and some hand holding and some teaching as far as how to be successful, again, Sean at Position Realty can help that. And again, buyers and sellers just themselves, you have your finger on the pulse of what it takes to be successful in the real estate market today. So I think that's, excellent for sure. Sean, can you give us a phone number, email address? How can somebody, the best way they can get a hold of you?
You can reach me on my phone. It's 480-213-5251, or my email address is Sean, SEAN, period. Don't forget the period. Heideman, HEID, as in dog, E as in Edward, M as in Mary, A as in Apple, N as in Nancy, at Position, POSITION, realty.com, or also you can go to our website, positionrealty.com. You can read all about the niches that we do, all the services, and also about more information about if you're looking at changing brokerages, what else we do offer. There's a lot more that we do offer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I wish we had more time and we would delve into it a little bit deeper. But either way, if you want more, Sean's information down below is in the comments will be his phone number, his email address, all that good stuff. We'll put all that stuff out there. We also would encourage you to like and subscribe the video. It helps us out quite a bit. Sean, thank you so much. We appreciate it. It's Position Realty, and this has been Arizona Real Estate Matters.